Welcome back to another episode of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today in downtown Cincinnati at the Nast Trinity Church. I'm joined by Sherman and Sidell Bradley. Sherman, right off the bat, who is the architect behind this great work?
Well, the architect is Samuel Hannaford. He was a prominent architect back in the late 1800s. He is also the architect of the beautiful music hall, which is right across the street here from our building here at 1310 Race Street. He has developed over 50 buildings. Now, 13 of those were actual religious buildings that he established, but this one has a uniqueness because most of the other religious buildings have a Gothic style to them in its architectural design, but this one has a Romanesque style that is unique to the others in the city.
Sherman, how old is this building?
Well, the building goes back to 1880, but it was purchased in the late 1870s and finished in 1880. Now, it's interesting about this is that at that time it was developed because the congregation was working out of the Wesley Chapel, and they had been there for several years before acquiring this piece of property and then creating their own congregation here.
Okay. All right, what are some of the other things that the building's been used for?
Well, it really has only been used for church primarily, and then the community engagement connected to churches, but it has not always been Nast Trinity. So it started off First German Methodist Episcopal Church. Then it transitioned to, once it was founded here in 1880, to Nast Methodist Church. It wasn't until 1958 when it joined with Trinity Methodist Church that it became Nast Trinity Methodist Church. And that actually came out of the fact that several members over the course of 50 years had left and started new congregations, like the Walnut Hills Methodist Church and the Clifton Methodist Church, as to how we've arrived at where it is today. And so when we arrived, Nast Trinity was the most prominent name that it had had for quite some time.
All right, so you guys both strike me as people that are involved in the community, and the building actually kind of strikes me that it's rich with history. So is there a tie here that you guys can talk about?
Well, the tie for us is that I have family that grew up in this community in the West End, and so there's a lot of history here from generations of my family living and working down here. So it's a place that also not far from here was the Old City Gospel Mission, where I worked for 10 years. So we would often come here because they were not housing, but they were feeding the homeless daily out of this building. And so we would get to know the homeless here because they would then, many of them would become sheltered at our facility.
Sidell, what does having access to a building like this mean for you, just as a pastor, as a leader? And feel free, you can speak for both of you.
Well, the interesting thing about this community is that it's multi-ethnic, it is intergenerational, and it's multi-class, which is the same demographics that our church is about. We are planting in this community, which is 30% low to moderate income, 30% middle income, and 30% upper class as it's gentrifying. And we are wanting to bring a church together for all people. Also in this community, as many may know, that Music Hall is here, and Shakespeare Theater is here, and the School of Creative and Performing Arts is here. And so therefore, this is an arts hub. And our church has a penchant for the arts as a way to reach out to people. And so we have constructed our building in such a way that artists can come, particularly artists who are inspirational, come to record, to release new music, to open the doors, to have jazz playing. We have a commercial kitchen so that entrepreneurs who are in the area, who are artists, who are culinary artists, can come and share with the community. And so what we want to do is have a place where everyone can come and be blessed and learn about the gospel of Jesus Christ, because it is a church, and see their lives transformed. We want people to belong. We want people to serve, to grow, and to transform their lives for the better.
Sidell, what is it in particular about this building that was intriguing to your ministry?
Well, one of the things is that we have a long history in this community. In 2001, when Timothy Thomas was shot and there were some riots that happened after it, both Sherman and I were clergy at that time, and we were ministering to people in this neighborhood. And actually, the place where Timothy Thomas was coming from was a club that was called The Warehouse. And when we came back, we were inspired to have the name The Warehouse. And it's kind of bringing it full circle and redeeming that name. As well, this entire neighborhood has changed. The demographic has changed. The vibe of it has changed. And now it is the center of activity in the city. And so we wanted to be in the presence of where decisions are made and in the presence of where people gather in order to love the community, to give them a place of hope and a place of healing. And so this community means a lot to us, and we've been ministering here for probably over 20 years now.
Sidel, what are the future plans for this location?
Well, one of the future plans is that if you can see the building that's next to our church, that is also owned by the United Methodist Church, and will become a annex building for us, where children's spaces, youth spaces, classrooms, all those kinds of things will be held. So we'll be able to expand in the ministry and offer more things to the community. So we're really excited. It's going to be about a $3 million project. So if anybody has $3 million, we would love to have it.
Comment below, please.
But as well, we are also wanting to expand into partnerships with folks that are in this area, all those artistic venues. We have a partnership with Rothenburg Elementary School and with Taft High School. And so we want to be able to offer many things in this community that will uplift, that will encourage, and that will strengthen the bonds.
Well, you guys are definitely in the perfect location for it. Sherman, do you have anything to add here?
One of the things that we will do to continue to have visibility in the community is this wonderful park that sits right here across the street from us. We have 4 dates coming up this year in 2021 in June, July, August, and September, where we're going to have services in the park on a Sunday afternoon. It'll be a wonderful time to bring the community together, to fellowship together, to continue to enlighten them. We're here, we want to be here for them, and we want to join in whatever the needs are that we can all work together to meet inside this community. So we're going to be excited about that. There'll be a lot of things that we'll get to do going forward as we continue, as Sidel said, partnering with organizations here that are prominent and those that are attempting to meet needs of those who are unfortunately a little more less fortunate than some of the others. We're excited about our June 6th coming up official launch. We have been here and doing work inside the building, as you all will get to see, since July of 2019. But our official launch was going to be in Easter of 2020, but COVID didn't allow that to happen. So coming up June 6th, we're going to have an official launch here in the park connected to our building, where we will actually be official and not just online. You can learn about us at the Warehouse Church OTR online, where we're having services every Sunday, but our official launch is coming up June 6th of this year.
watching another episode of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today in downtown Cincinnati in this incredible neighborhood, getting even more incredible here at the former Nast Trinity Church, now the Warehouse. Sidel, Sherman, Bradley, thank you both for joining us today. And remember, travel slowly and stop often. You guys are the best. Bye for now.